All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Yashim, Yahweh Shai by Yashim, Rakah Kwadash, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well, and peace and salutation unto the hopeful elect, the 1/3 of Yasha Allah, upholding the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of their ability. Peace and salutation. This is the brother Bakwasha, and I want to cover the recent tariffs, the recent implosion, really, of Babylon, aka America, the economy, the dollar, the jobs. This place is a ticking time bomb, man. You know, and the scriptures have prophesied that it was going to be destroyed and it was going to fall, right? And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing plagues, we're seeing judgments, we're seeing all of the things in which the scriptures have written. And so I'm gonna play this quick video. I may have another one, go into a couple of quick precepts, and Lord will, it'll be edifying for the elect. Let's start here in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 1. It says, "Remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened." So now this is going into the job losses, but I want to play a little bit about these tariffs, because these tariffs are going to go into job losses. So these mechanisms, and Lord will, I'll do another lesson going into the mechanisms of oppression. But one of those mechanisms is the economy, being able to ship jobs overseas, being able to inflate the price of goods, which causes what? The grinding to cease, to where there's no jobs, right? And what is that going to cause people to do? To be forced out into basically poverty, right? And so now people are going to commit crimes, right, at an accelerated rate. But then also all of this is leading to the charagma, because now there's going to be what were they called? Basically government aids, right? And now it creates people to be in a welfare state of mind. And when they're in a welfare state of mind, and then now you offer them a digital access to get back into a system to where they don't need any cash any longer. And they basically, it's kind of like, you know, going to a casino or something like that. You get X amount of credits or points, and then now you can kind of start the slate clean. And so all of these are just, like I said, the implosion of Babylon, aka America. But let's play this quick video and show how the grinding is ceasing. And Lord will, this will be edifying for the elect.
Tonight, the world braces for a new round of tariffs from the Trump administration. The first wave of 10% will go into effect at midnight, before higher tariffs will be placed on goods from certain countries starting on Wednesday, according to the White House. But those have already had ripple effects in the days leading up to them and divided business and economic leaders across the board. Fox 61's Stephen Real spoke to economic experts across our state to get their take on the Trump tariffs.
I don't see it as an economy killer.
The mayhem has just begun.
Two Connecticut professors, two vastly different points of view of what lays ahead with President Trump's tariff plan. By the end of Friday, all major indexes at the stock market fell by more than 5%. Dow Jones alone tanked by more than 2,200 points. Economists say we haven't seen a volatile series of days like these since the 2008 recession and the drop the market saw during the COVID-19 pandemic, which has worried people about the future of their 401ks and divesting them potentially. But while Southern Connecticut State University Professor James Thorson says it's best to hold out until the stock market levels, Quinnipiac Professor Mohammed Elahi says there really isn't another option.
If I was a young person, for example, and had many years to retirement, I would keep stocks in my 401k, because really you need growth that offsets inflation. That's the big risk you have in the long run, is inflation risk, and stocks really are one of our best hedges against inflation.
If people want to take some money that is already invested, they have to pay a huge penalty plus back taxes, so it does not make any sense. Moreover, nothing is safe.
Tariffs are expected to raise the prices of food, clothes, phones, and cars. How much will remain to be seen, according to the professors. The goal from the Trump administration has been to return manufacturing to the U.S. by use of the tariffs. But whether this will work or not is still in question.
We had some trade issues with Japan back in the 1980s, and one of the ways they responded was to build car plants in the United States.
In building car plants in a society where people are not, they don't have any money for gas. See, and that's another component that's causing people to not travel. So people are not traveling. People are not spending money. Tell you, hey, this place is imploding, right? But it as I've said before, this is a controlled demolition. Okay, they're using all the levers of the economy to make this place a third world nation, to where now they can bring in martial law. Okay. Yeah, but manufacturing ain't gonna do it.
Some trade issues with Japan back in the 1980s, and one of the ways they responded was to build car plants in the United States. Maybe they might decide to do some investment to get around the tariffs by building stuff here in the U.S.
I respectfully disagree, because if you want to set up a factory in the USA, you also need support industries. If they try to make everything in the US, the price will be so high, and we simply wouldn't be able to compete in the global market.
In Hartford, Stephen Reels, Fox 61.
Right. So this just goes to show you, that all of these tariffs, okay, are going to implode more and more of America. Okay. This is Job chapter 20 and verse 15. It says, he hath swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. Yahweh shall cast them out of his belly. Okay. And so what are those riches coming from? Really, ultimately, it's going to be the fact that he's on stolen land and using America as a shadow a government, right? When really it's just a big mechanism of a lie that has now been able to steal, rob, and plunder people across the globe. That's why it's referred to as a beast. This is a beast-like system, okay? Because it devours countries, men, okay, policies, right? And the only thing that's left pure that cannot be devoured is truth of Yahweh Shemi Shai. Okay, so let's move on to the next video. And let's bring this out. This is Lamentation chapter 4, verse 9. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. Because when you have all of these inflations, when you have taxes at the wazoo, right, and there's no jobs, right? What do you think is going to insist? Hunger. And when there's hunger, now there's crime. Okay? Because now those parasites, okay, are popping, looking for sugar, salts, all that kind of stuff, man. Okay? People are gonna go mad. And that's when they're gonna have to bring in, that's when they're gonna have to bring in those third world troops, to start offing people. Just like in the scenes of Independence Day, right? When all those people were at a racket, right? And if you didn't have a certain pass or insignia, right, you wouldn't even be able to get through. I mean, you saw how it was during the scamdemic, right? People, and it used to be with the Black Fridays, right? People running in there, chaotic, just trying to get a TV or toilet paper. How much more so when hunger kicks in, okay? Days, weeks without eating, all right? Because that's what's going to happen with inflation, no jobs, no, it's going to be World War type scenarios going on, okay? You're gonna have people like I mean, it's been seen already. People knocking people out, taking their purses, right? It's not gonna be safe out here, man. Okay? It says, they that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away, stricken through for want of the fruits of the field. And ultimately, the way people provide for themselves here in Babylon is by working. So now, instead of you just being a servant to the lender, okay, matter of fact, let's just grab that. This is Proverbs 22:7. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. Okay. So as these taxes and inflation go up, okay, the servants, the employees, okay, are going to be more of a permanent slave and less of just a financial slave. Okay. Because now your money can't buy bread. Okay. So let's play a couple of these real quick. Let's start right here.
I literally.
It's a lot. I thought it was normal. Okay, good.
Go up to you and I say, I don't f***ing care that you're here. You're gonna give me 5 minutes whether you like it or not. Thank you. This one table gets up, comes to the kitchen. I've been waiting on my food for over an hour. Grab him, walk into the computer. Do you see how this says 29 minutes? Sit down and go shut the get out of my face. I'm not doing this. I'm not having a nervous breakdown. Everyone has got it. Some people left me $3. Some people liked it and left me 30. I don't know how today went. I am never coming back here. I'm
through.
I'm standing on business. I'm done.
So is it just me, or are people fed up with either their job or the search of jobs? As the recession gets here, which we're going to go into one, it's inevitable. We saw the stock market get crushed last week.
Look at that. Okay. The past month is just plummeting. Past weeks. This is the past month right here. Plummeting. Okay.
And it's probably going to keep continuing into the next few weeks until we find some type of bottom. We're going to see more and more job layoffs. And we're going to see more people just tapping out. They're just done. So what do you think about this situation? Let's go through some of these stories, and I want to hear from what y'all think in the comments down below.
Am I the only one that doesn't see the point of this anymore? Trading your time for money. So I'm supposed to give you 8 hours of my day for 5 days a week for the rest of my life?
I've never been one to trade my time for money. I as an entrepreneur, I just like to make my own rules. I wind up probably working 100 hours to keep from working 35 for somebody else. But you know what? I'm willing to take that trade.
Second time in a year, almost a year to the day, I laid off again. Twice in a year. And
that's tough. That's real tough.
What the? What?
The grinding is ceasing.
Is anyone supposed to do? And they said, because of the economy is crap right now. So we're going to lay off a whole bunch of people again. And I already was struggling so hard, actually low-key.
It's so hard to watch these stories, especially as we know.
Plan for them to, tank this so that we have to rely on other things, other people. It's and I'm quite frankly tired of it. I'm tired of my livelihood being in other people's hands. And I have no idea how to fix that, but I'm going to, because this is just wild, and I'm fucking angry.
Hell yeah, you're angry. Guess what? That anger ain't gonna do a damn thing. This is the judgment of Yahweh Shemi Avashah, man. Okay? These are oppressors. Okay? And that's what oppression is. Okay? As above, so below. Okay? Compressing, okay, from the bottom through inflation and compressing through the top through layoffs of jobs. And then overall through tariffs and taxes. Okay. So now the implosion of the dollar, the lack of jobs. Okay. This whole place is done. All right. Let's bring this out. This is Isaiah chapter 19, verse. Yeah, let's go 14. The Lord, Yahweh Shemi Shai, hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt. Spiritually Sodom, spiritually Egypt. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. So overall, this whole system is tanking, but it's in a intentional tanking, right? But yeah, I mean, more and more Becky's, Karen's, Susie's, all of them feeling it. There was a time for Akim, maybe some of the newer Akim, there was a time where you would never see this, ever. Okay, we're talking at least 30 years ago. Okay, where the presses, so-called, white people, they wouldn't even be on here, number one, let alone discussing their economic woes. Okay, because they had the complexion for the protection. Well, there is no protection any longer, aside from the protection of Yahweh, wa Yahweh wa Harakakadash. That's it. Okay, that anointing of Yahweh Shemi Shai, that is the only protection. Okay, everything else is a lie. All right. Yeah, neither shall there be any work for Egypt. Okay, none whatsoever. All right. So let's play one more and then we'll wrap up.
Used over here. We received an email from UNIM stating that they were asking for a confirmation of a resignation date. Did you resign and we just don't know about it?
Yeah, I'm not working there anymore.
Yeah, that's some old crazy stuff. Let's see this.
Is a company that I wish I never worked at, quite honestly. In December, because this company was transparent, everyone at the company was able to see the numbers and that things for the next few months weren't looking good. So we asked the job to see if we needed to start preparing ourselves for layoffs, and they told us no. They told us that we had things in the pipeline, that everything was good, and we didn't need to worry. And then they laid us off. Granted, it's because of what's going on with this bullshit administration. That company relied on.
I said this in one of my other videos, how the contractors of the federal government were going to get hit next. And it's trickling down. Once the money spigot turns off in the federal government, down the line, everybody gets hit. All the way down to the hot dog vendors that stand outside of those buildings selling, to the federal workers and the contractors, everything to the janitors, everything to the guy that fills the paper in the copy machine.
What does the scripture say? Neither shall there be any work for Egypt. Let's grab this word here, work, real quick.
Strong's H 4639. Maasai.
Product, property, business, labor, occupation. Okay? None of it. Undertaking, enterprises. Okay? It's not going to be any work left. Let's see what the root is here. To do work, to fashion, to make. Okay? So yeah, all of this it's just signs. It's just signs that Yahweh Shemi Shai is taking this place out. This is Habakkuk 2 and 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, in a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long, and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And that's what the system is. It's a debt-based system. Okay. So now people are going to try to go run to the banks to do what? Borrow more money, which means more and more debt. Okay. So even if you do, man, these are devils, bro. Even if you do get a new job 6 months from now, right? Now, whatever savings you had was depleted, right? And then now you're in more debt than you were, a year previous. And more debt is being compounded. Okay? That's why the scripture says, woe, destruction to him that increaseth that which is not his. Okay? And ladeth himself with thick clay, that abadyat. Okay? That's what this society is built off of, debt. And when you have debt, you also have servants. Okay? Because they cannot pay, so they now the only thing that could be wagered is their time. That's why when you go to or when they say people go into incarceration, they're paying their debt to society. Well, they don't have any money, so how are they paying their debt? Through time. Okay. Now, yeah, let's play one more. We'll wrap up here. Because it's federal workers. It's everyone. It's a trickle down effect. Okay, but all of this is done, okay, for more and more control. That's what these measures are for. Okay, it's not, we're gonna make America great again. Like, nah, it's not possible. Okay, it's gonna implode America, change it into a digital society, okay, and have people access it through the charagma, okay, and then ultimately being a permanent slave for Esau, okay.
Eliminated. So, can someone please just explain to me how the teacher of the year gets laid off?
Crazy.
But I think I'm so angry right now that it's gonna
notice these are more Becky's.
take me some time to sift through these.
So comment down below if you're a teacher. What is happening here where I'm at is so many of the kids are going to private schools or home-based schools, given the option, that they don't want to go into the public school system. And when they're talking about hiring more teachers, and this is just my thought, comment down below if you know more about this, but as they're trying to hire more teachers, the budget is not there. The kids are not there, and all the kids with money left to go to the private sector. So the public school system in and around where I'm at is in a real hurt. And I think this is going to lead to a reduction of teachers because the state has to fund by the number of kids in their system. Roll call. And if they're not in the system, they don't get the budget. And most of the schools where we are failing schools. And giving the opportunity, they're willing to leave the school system. The kids are. And the parents taking their kids. What does that say about the system? If given the opportunity, everything equal, that people are willing to take their kids out of the public school system. Now, what does this do? It hurts jobs.
Exactly. Okay. All of this is a mechanism, okay? And it's a pit. Matter of fact, let's grab this. It's a pit, man. Okay? And, yeah, we could read that one. But Here it is. This is this is one of them. This is Psalms 35:7. For without cause have they hid for me their net in a pit, which without cause they have digged for my soul. Now, I haven't gone into this word here, pit, but let's see what it says.
Strong's H, 7845, Shachath.
Yeah, and one of those is corruption, man, because that's what this whole system is. It's corrupt. So now the teachers are laid off, the kids are leaving. Now the parents are without jobs. One may be working, the other one isn't, right? The kids are at home. No one's at no one can afford daycare. All of these are more rumblings of the pandemic, in which showed that, you know, people can't live with each other, man. They're gonna go crazy. And then you don't have food, right? And then inflation is kicking in, and then the one income is being taxed out the wazoo. Let's get Keisha real quick.
Going to get interesting really fast.
I busted my ass and I was just laid off. These companies do not care about us.
Newsflash.
And I was just laid off. These companies do not care about us. They want us to give us a 2-week notice, but yet can just fire us and ruin our lives on the spot any day to day. I have a 2-year-old son, no savings, which is my fault, and it doesn't fucking matter. So now I have to go back on the job hunt, and I have to get a work from home job because I have a 2-year-old that I have to take care of. Can't afford daycare. Rent is $2,500 where I live. Now I gotta find out how to pay off my lease early because there's no way that we could afford to live here. I don't even have a computer. They just locked me out of my computer. You know, I really thought that the culture at my job was great. The best at
deception, deceit. This is Job 20:12. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue. Okay? He gonna tell you whatever you need to hear in order to get you to make them bricks. And then as this society implodes, the only companies that are gonna stay afloat are the ones that bow to the technocracy. Because these companies are under the same oppression as well. Okay? Bailouts. That's what I was thinking about earlier. The water y'all by Shemel Shah. Psalms 10:7. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Did a lesson on fraud a couple of days ago. Okay? That's what this whole system is. Fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. So it doesn't matter what these damn devils say. Scripture says never trust thine enemy. So let's wrap up with this. This is 2 Ezra chapter 16, verse 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth. Sword, famine, and great confusion, man. You know, so through the Spirit, Lord will, that was edifying for the elect. Until next time, shalom.